Good morning, nation. I love Victory Monday. Some would say that win over the Chargers was finger-licking good. Some other people might say tasted like barbecue chicken. If you love the Raiders and you're hyped after that huge 27-20 win over the Los Angeles Chargers, hit that subscribe button because this week we're going to have a lot of fun here on the Raiders Report. Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, and it's Victory Monday, my favorite show to do here on the Raiders Report. Major shout-out to today's sponsor, True Classic Tees. I don't know if you guys can tell, I woke up this morning a little hungover. Couldn't figure out what I wanted to wear, so I thought I'm going to look good, and it's going to be easy to throw on here. True Classic Tees hooking up not only me, but the entire nation. TrueClassicTees.com/chat. That link's going to be available for you guys in the comments and in the description of today's video. So coming up here on today's show, I'm happy, man. I know my throat is absolutely destroyed from screaming last night. I know, giggity. But hey, we're going to be looking at the Raiders' playoff chances. Yeah, I said the word playoffs. It's going to blow your mind. And then on top of that, a lot of game balls to get rid of because a lot of players stepped up in that game yesterday. So here's my question to all of you. Please go down in the comments section. That was a well-fought game on both sides of the football. I said probably one of the best complete games I've seen this team play underneath Josh McDaniels. And we got a lot of game balls to get rid of. So I want to know right now, the players deserve it. The nation, I need y'all voices to get down in the comments. Give me some players that deserve some game balls. First guy that's getting a game ball goes to this guy right here. You saw him get the rock a ton yesterday against the Chargers. 26 carries. Yeah, Jacobs put the ball on the ground early, and he's really, I thought, done a really good job this season controlling the fumbles. But you know what? McDaniels kept going to him, and he didn't lose confidence. He is running with such a hot hand right now. He's the best running back in the NFL right now. Best running back in the NFL, 144 yards, a touchdown, and all 5 of the Raiders' wins this season. Jacobs has had over 20 carries. Feed that man. Let's go to another game ball here. Oh, man, that flea flicker from Jacobs to Carr to Davante Adams. I know Keenan Allen was talking a lot about barbecue chicken, but there was one guy who was making tons of it, and his name is Davante. He's the best receiver in football. Like, the fact that you got the best running back and you got the best receiver right now. 8 catches, 177 yards, 2 touchdowns. This one-handed grab, which there was another one-handed grab that didn't even count because the guy was all over him, but regardless, in all of the Raiders' wins this season, he's averaging 11.5 targets per game. The more you target this dude, the better off that your offense is going to be because when he gets cooking, there's nobody that could slow him down. And you've seen it now for, 3 straight weeks that teams are trying to put one guy on him, and then they might help him over the top. But when he does that, jump in the air, stutter step thing, good luck. Good luck, because people trying to cover Davante right now look like a wounded deer on ice, and they got no idea where he's going. Coming up, more game balls to get rid of here on the Raiders Report. We're also going to give some shout-outs to a lot of the MVPs on yesterday's watch party. Before I do that, though, huge shout-out to True Classic Tees. Who out there needs an awesome stocking stuffer, an awesome gift to give your husband, your dad, yourself, your child? I mean, you have unbelievable opportunities, not only with T-shirts, and if you use promo code CHAT, 25% off at TrueClassicTees.com/chat. Is anybody a golfer out there? Does anybody have to wear a polo shirt or collared shirt to work? I know when I make videos here for Chat Sports, sometimes I got to do it. I love how comfortable they are, how they don't wrinkle, how they're stretchy, they're flexible. And if somebody just out there trying to up their game a little bit, it is fall. I wear these T-shirts underneath a jacket. I'll wear them underneath extra coat to, try to get some swag going. And remember, True Classic Tees has helped over 2 million men. Yep. Also, what I love about them, when you drink as much as I do sometimes on these shows, you get a little bit of a beer belly. And, it's there right now. And it's okay because these shirts, they hide all of it. I don't know if y'all can tell. I feel good. It's loosey-goosey. Promo code CHAT, 25% off your order. Remember, comment section, description, huge shout out to True Classic. Makes a great holiday gift this season. Let's also talk about some of the, this is going to sound weird out of context, had a lot of banging last night. It's probably why my throat's sore, giggity. But shout out to John, Mark, Raider Ron was battling with Wild One to get the signed Raiders helmet by Jeremy Chuggs and I. Hootie Lord, another guy on Mount Rushmore, Trivan. Shout out to Raiders Podcast. I commented on your video on YouTube. I need your Twitter handle so we can do a show together. David, Christopher Hale. All hail Christopher. He came out of the woodwork, was balling out yesterday. Igio, appreciate everyone who sent in a huge $100 super chat. A lot of banging. But you know what? There's one guy banging more than everyone else, and that was Wild One. Burn. Wild One, the MVP of our show. And the winner of the signed helmet, you guys are going to be seeing a lot of Wild One, who was the MVP last Thursday. This Sunday, can he make it 3 in a row when the Raiders take on the Rams on Thursday Night Football this week? Let's go to another game ball I got to get to. Patrick Graham, this was the best defensive game you've seen the Raiders play the entire season. And they got stops yet again. Remember how I thought the game against the Seahawks, they got stops when it mattered the most? You saw the exact same thing here. And in past seasons, when Derek Carr throws a pick six, there's an early Josh Jacobs fumble, that game's over. Like, realistically, that game's over. This team is a lot mentally stronger right now. They allow 13 points to Justin Herbert and the Chargers, only 386 total yards, 5 sacks, and none of them were to Maxx Crosby. That's incredible. The Chargers in the red zone, 0 for 3. And the fact that this team forced a turnover when they did, third quarter, right? The third quarter's been not second half for the Raiders early on, not great. You're down 13-10. Duron Harmon punches the ball out, recovered by Nate Hobbs. Next play, touchdown to Davante Adams. The game switched. Patrick Graham did a phenomenal job against the Chargers. And if you think that this was the best performance by the D, there are so many innuendos in this show. I'm just realizing right now. Hit that like button. If you're happy that the defense finally showed up, hit that like button. If you're just happy that the Raiders won, hit that like button. Let's go to the next player here that deserves the game ball. A UDFA, a safety that I have said before, I don't know how exactly he's going to fit. A player that made the 53-man roster, Isaiah Pola-Mao. And, oh, man, I'm not going to say he reminded me of his cousin Troy Polamalu, but you know what? 5 tackles, a tackle for loss, huge sack, 2 quarterback hits. He was flying all over the football field, and I personally don't really think that he's that great in coverage. He made a few key plays, but the way that the Raiders used him, the way that Patrick Graham used him yesterday was they let him be athletic and they let him get down the field and start hitting Herbert. Now, y'all, I am going to be live a little bit later on today. It's Monday, Victory Monday over on Locals, RaidersReport.locals.com. If you want to stay up to date on all of my takes and all the information, Raiders news, hit me up. Twitter, Instagram. If you don't know where to find me at this point, that one's probably on you. We got some honorable mentions, and then I'll throw out the guy who's the MVP, right? Derek Carr, yes, he threw an early pick 6. Mentally tough dude, though. 16 of 30, 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, did a great job when it mattered the most. I talked about Duron Harmon punching out that football. The Raiders with Jerry Tillery are a totally different team up front. Maxx Crosby, consistent pressure, and the entire Raiders offensive line yet again opened up huge holes for Josh Jacobs. Also, Matt Collins and Jacob Johnson on that touchdown run by Jacobs. Special blocking right there. Let's go to the MVP. We found him. I mean, he's been gone. MIA. Where's Waldo? Chandler Jones. Here you go. This is the game that Raider Nation has been waiting for. This is the game that he finally showed, okay, this is why the Raiders paid him all that money. And go figure, the type of performance that he put on, the Raiders dominate on the defensive side of the football. 6 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 5 quarterback hits, and 3 sacks. Entering this game, Chandler Jones had half a sack, and now he's got 3.5. Shout out to Chandler Jones. He was my MVP, and I thought the Raiders' defense really set the tone in this game, and I was very, very proud of them. So, which Raiders player deserves a game ball? Those were my 5 players. I want to know from you. I threw in some honorable mentions. When you have a game the way that one went, I'm trying to keep it to 5 game balls every single week. You could have given away a lot more. There's definitely no doubt about it. Coming up next here on the Raiders Report, we're going to be looking at some playoff chances, and it's crazy to even say that out loud, but playoffs, we're talking about the playoffs. And the fact that the Raiders beat the Chargers, their playoff chances, according to the New York Times, you guys can go check it out as well, go run their simulations, went from a 4% all the way up to 8%. So, yeah, I get it. 8% still isn't a lot, but when you get done watching the show today, you're going to leave here being like, holy shit, they might actually do this. So here's the AFC playoff picture as it stands right now. You got the Bills, the Chiefs, the Ravens, and the Titans all sitting atop of their division leaders, right? But obviously, we're going to be looking at the wild card. Sure, Raiders might catch Kansas City. I'm not going to say that that's really going to be possible. The Bengals, to me, they're more than likely going to make it in. I think the Dolphins are a good football team at 8-4, but it's that number 7 spot. That number 7 spot, does anybody trust the Jets right now? I don't know if I do at 7-5. Then you got New England, who the Raiders are about to play. You just beat the Chargers. Both of those teams are 6-6. And then there's the Raiders chilling at 5-7, who, by the way, also at 5-7 is Pittsburgh. And when you look at the Raiders' remaining schedule, there's a lot of winnable games right here. Week 14, Thursday Night Football against the Rams. The fact that Baker Mayfield has been released, I actually think a sneaky team is the Rams. The team that makes the most sense is Jimmy Garoppolo, less 49ers, who obviously don't have Lance. Garoppolo broke his foot, so they're not going to have him. So you don't have Matthew Stafford going in this game. The New England Patriots are beatable. The Steelers are beatable. No Jimmy G. And then you got the Chiefs Week 18, which, hey, what if they lock up the AFC West? What if they lock up the number 2 seed? Maybe they sent their starters. I don't know. We can dream, right? So can the Raiders still make the playoffs? Y for yes or N for no? The answer is yes, they still can make the playoffs. But realistically, what I'm asking you is, do you believe it in your heart of hearts? Because I know when we were 2-6, the words that were being thrown around were tank. I don't hear too many people talking about a tank right now because this team is playing inspired football. So if the Raiders win their next 5 games of this year, you got a 95% chance to make the playoffs. I'll take a 95 every single day of the week, man. 10-7, 95%. But you know what I wanted to do? I wanted to take an extra step because when you look at the numbers, mathematically, the Raiders can lose a game and still get in. So what you're going to see here coming up is I'm going to look at the next 5 games of the Raiders, okay? So, for example, Raiders playoff chances here with the Rams. If the Raiders lose to the Rams and then they were to win their next 4 games, according to the New York Times, the Raiders' playoff chances will still be 56%. So 9-8, okay? All these graphics you're going to see is the Raiders going 9-8, and the team featured here is the team that the Raiders would lose to. But 56% at 9-8, dude, that's not bad odds. The most important game, according to the Times and according to your playoff chances, because of that wild card spot. Remember, the Jets are 7-5, New England in that same division. If the Raiders lose to the Patriots, okay, you're going to have 10 days to be able to prepare for them, and you still win your other 4 games, it's only a 17% chance. That's going to be the lowest percentage that you see on the show. Raiders playoff chances if they win all 4 games but lose to the Steelers. 32% chance. Like, that's not insane to me, man. And then you got the Raiders playoff chances if they lose to the Niners but win the other 4 games. 51%. 9-8, it's a coin flip. I'll take my chances. And then the final game, the Raiders playoff chances if they win their 4 games and then lose to the Chiefs is 40%. I threw out a lot of numbers right there, right? But you know what? You can't tell me after seeing that you don't believe a little bit. And I know the real ones who watch till the very end of my show, I appreciate all of you. If you believe just a little bit that this Raiders team might actually pull this freaking thing off and they make the playoffs, I want every single one of y'all crazy mother effers that rocked with me last night, to the 100,000 people that were screaming our freaking lungs off, spam believe it, baby. I'll be back tomorrow for a live show on Tuesday, and then we're going to be live for Thursday Night Football, Raiders and the Rams.